Hi, I'm so happy to have you here for our first video in a series of videos for our sign troupe auditions. We're going to be doing the song Unfinished by Mandisa. Hopefully you had an opportunity to review the first video I sent out a couple of days ago that not only shows you what we're looking for in sign troupe as far as your lyrical ability and your musicianship and your synchronization, facial expressions, your love for Jesus, but also what you can do with sign language and starting first by learning the manual alphabet. If you haven't had an opportunity to review that video, please do so before you watch this video series. Otherwise, it's just going to be challenging for you to keep up, and you may not do as well in your audition as you would if you had prepared a little bit sooner. So please make sure that you master specifically your manual alphabet, your ABCs, because I referenced that in this video series. You'll need to know your hand shapes in order to learn the signs properly. What I'm going to do in this video today is to review the vocabulary first and then string the vocabulary together with the verses in the song. I take a little bit of lyrical license when we're doing songs in sign troupe, not only to interpret a song for a particular meaning, but also to select signs that are not only lyrically and visually appealing, but also easy to manage in a group and to synchronize. So that's why I would encourage you not to jump ahead by watching other videos online, because you might be learning a song a different way and I might not choose to interpret it that way. You also may have picked up that when we sign together, we don't sign every single word. American Sign Language can be done in several different ways. So American Sign Language is ASL, and that has a sign language vocabulary, but it has a grammar and syntax all its own. And that's generally done within the deaf community and with interpreters. We don't use ASL when we sign. We use sign language vocabulary, but we don't use the grammar and syntax of ASL because lyrically it makes more sense to sign the words of the song as they're sung. And that's what we do with Pidgin Signed English, not Pigeon the bird, Pidgin, PSE. And that's generally the grammar and the syntax of the English language, but it's done with sign language vocabulary. And so it just makes more sense for the audience to see a sign match a word when we sing it. The other kind of sign language is SEE, Signed Exact English. It's not as common because it means signing every single word in a sentence, and it's very time consuming and very detailed. And that even means signing pronouns and articles and prepositions, which generally aren't done in PSE and not done in ASL. So for the purposes of this video, you are learning sign language, but you're not learning ASL. It's not American Sign Language. It's Pidgin Signed English, PSE. So I'm going to teach you the vocabulary first. Remember that I am not your mirror. I am signing everything right-handed. So you'll remember from the first video that even if you're left-handed, you need to learn everything right-handed. And so I am not your mirror in this video. So it might be helpful if you kind of sit next to me so that we can learn our signs together. That way, by sitting next to me, you know not only directionality, but you would also know if there's a height difference in my hands. I'm going to refer to my right hand as my dominant hand. That's the hand that I write with. And my left hand is my non-dominant hand. We're going to go through the vocabulary first, and then I'm going to string the verses together for you as I've kind of interpreted them for the song. So we're going to start with the first word when we refer to ourselves as I. Literally, this is I, but generally that's not used. You refer to yourself as either I or me, or lyrically it just looks nicer if we use the back of our dominant hand down the center. So I, we use the sign sorry. This is your S hand, and it's done counterclockwise over your chest. Sorry. The sign for say, it's your D hand on your chin, out. This is say. We do the sign if we're referring to anything in the past for was, or anything that has happened before. We refer to it by throwing our shoulder over our hand. Even sometimes we do that naturally, just as body language when we speak. So was. It's your dominant hand slightly curved over your right shoulder. The sign for person that we're going to be using in the song are two P hands that are parallel, one down right next to the other. They move simultaneously. This indicates the physical person, a figure's body or shape or an outline. The other sign that we do is the sign for preach. It's our F hand tapped in the air, and it's just slightly above your head. Not too high, not way up here, but not down low. Preach. The sign for you, rather than say you, lyrically, it looks so much nicer if we indicate you. It's just nicer. Sometimes we do you with our dominant hand. It's closed fingers, open thumb, not like so here, you. Sometimes we do it with both hands, and generally if we do both hands, your dominant hand is slightly higher than your non-dominant hand, you, and they come out like so. The other sign that we do is the sign for can. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. These are our S hands that come straight down next to one another. Not directly next to each other, but parallel to one another. Another sign we use here is overcome or overcomer. And so you're going to take your S hand, dominant hand, over the arm of your non-dominant hand. And you're going to overcome. And then if we were to add to it, overcomer, we indicate that with two flat hands on either side, similar to person, but So we could say overcomer, or we say preacher, or teacher, or helper. Is here. So this is overcome, and then this is The sign that we're going to use for still and also for the meaning of continue is going to be two thumbs, your dominant hand in front of your non-dominant hand, and you kind of scoop, and depending on the beat of the music, sometimes it's once, sometimes it's twice, but this is the sign for still. The sign for believe is your D hand next to your temple, and then bring both hands open and together. So believe. The sign for not is your dominant hand, your thumb under your chin. Not. Nope, not. Right here. The sign that we're going to do for easy is your right hand, your dominant hand, with your non-dominant hand, and you're going to brush your fingertips against your non-dominant hand. You keep your non-dominant hand still, but your dominant hand just brushes the fingertips. This is the sign for easy. So those are the words, the vocabulary in the first verse, and when we put it all together, it looks like this. The first line is not scared to say it, but we're going to interpret it, I'm sorry to say it. So we're going to say, not scared to say it. I used to be the one. So we're going to say was, and then we're going to do the sign for person. I used to be the one. The line is preaching it to you, so we're going to be preaching it to you. And here we're going to just do one hand. So instead of preaching it to you, it just looks nicer, more lyrical this way. But then we have to say again that you can overcome. The next line of the song is you can overcome. So here we're going to use two hands. That you can overcome. So really what we are signing here is that you can be an overcomer. You can overcome your challenges. So we do that you can overcome. The next line is I still believe it. So we're going to do the sign for still believe it. And we're going to do the sign it ain't easy. It's not easy. So the whole thing together looks like this. Not scared to say it. I used to be the one preaching it to you that you can overcome. I still believe it, but it ain't easy. So that's the first verse right there. Practice that, master it, and I'll send out a couple more videos with the vocabulary and the verses as well, and then we put everything to music, and then we do performance level. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email. I'll talk to you guys soon.